Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. And I do want to apologize to certain individuals that asked me if I was going to cover this particular auction sale in an upcoming video. I did tell you guys yes, but I didn't state when the video would be released. When I first started this particular YouTube channel, I will admit, I was a little bit naive. I know that I'm a part-time YouTuber, but I honestly thought that if I uploaded just 1 or 2 videos a week, I could keep abreast with all the advancements that were happening on a day-to-day basis in the overall antiques and collectibles trade. I understand that I cannot do that with just uploading 1 to 2 videos a week. So when a historic sale breaks or when there's news out there that I feel I need to comment on, sometimes it'll take me several weeks, sometimes several months for me to circle back around to it and decide if I want to do a video on it. Now, I do like to keep this channel fresh. I don't want to saturate this channel with overdone talking points to the point where I do put out a video every day and people get sick of the content that I produce. I tend to only put out videos when I truly have something new to teach or something to comment on where my perspective is a little bit different than most other people that are putting out content based on antiques and collectibles. Because remember, at the end of the day, this is a hardcore collectibles finance channel. As a result, I tend to toe the line between antiques and collectibles and also the financial inner workings of the antiques and collectibles trade. So I like to teach how these markets operate over the short term and also the long term. I'm really here to educate about the dangers and also the rewards of potentially investing in these markets. That's what this channel is about. So we do have a historic sale here that I am going to comment on. And this historic sale comes courtesy of RR Auction. You guys probably, unless if you're on the antique side of the equation, you may not be aware of the RR Auction Company. They are out of Boston, Massachusetts. They're a high profile, very credible auction house that pretty much for the most part, in most cases, caters to the antique side of the antiques and collectibles trade. They do occasionally offer collectibles, don't get me wrong, but they are mainly known as an antique auction company. Well, recently, they had a major historic record-breaking sale. And this particular auction was for 2 ticket stubs dated from April 14th, 1865, that were from the Ford's Theater. Now, for those of you out there that may not be history buffs, or maybe you don't even care about history, this is historic because unfortunately, April 14th, 1865 was the night that then President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in cold blood. That's what makes this sale so historic. So these 2 ticket stubs that we're going to be talking about that sold for a historic price of a little over $262,000 did not belong to Abraham Lincoln. I want to make that very clear. The reason why these ticket stubs dated from that night and from that event sold for this amount of money is because they are one of the few historic artifacts that we have that survived from that particular historic event and time frame. So that's what makes these items so rare and so sought after. Now, this is a very interesting learning lesson in the overall antiques and collectibles trade because there's more to this story than meets the eye. And that's why I want to do a video on this. For those unaware, this particular sale occurred in September of 2023. Towards the end of September in 2023, these 2 ticket stubs sold for $262,000. But wait, there's more. This is not the first time these ticket stubs came up for auction. The original auction that these ticket stubs sold through was back on October 9th, 2002. So literally, October 9th, 2002, these were first auctioned off. Then they were auctioned off again almost 21 years later. Well, the original sale, these particular ticket stubs were sold through Christie's auction house. Now, what makes this so amazing is the fact that back in October 9th of 2002, this particular high-profile sale only went for $83,650. Now, what makes this even more interesting is the fact that a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to go, oh my gosh, this particular high profile antique historic item went for $83,650 back in 2002. And in 2023, it went for $262,000. Do you have any idea the rate of return that this investment experienced? This means that investing in antiques and collectibles are an incredible investment. Nothing else compares. Well, hold on to your hat, little Timmy, because if you would have took the $83,650 that these ticket stubs sold for back on October 9th, 2002, and put it in an S&P 500 index fund and just left it there and forgot about it, today, right around the same date that these ticket stubs were resold for $262,000, you would have over $600,000 sitting at present time. So this is why when we look at antique and collectible investing, even if you're on the antique side of the equation, looking at high-profile artifacts, you still need to understand the basics of business, finance, and economics. Because at the end of the day, most high-profile investors operating in the antiques and collectibles trade, I've said this many times now, guys, they diversify into antiques and collectibles. They do not invest all of their money and all of their assets in antiques and collectibles. And this is why. We're talking about an item that is truly historically significant, that is truly on the antique side of the equation, that truly resonates with people who love Abraham Lincoln. There's almost nothing else from that date in history, the date that he was assassinated, that you can own. If you want to own a piece of that historic date that altered the course of U.S. history going forward, this would be an item that you would want to own. And it still failed over the long term to outperform an S&P 500 index fund. Let that be a lesson to you. If you are investing in the antiques and collectibles trade, it should be done as a diversification hedge. It should never, ever be the full course. And this is something that we're going to talk about going forward. Because, you know, one of the criticisms that I get thrown at me is, Sean, why? Why do you do this on this particular YouTube channel? You're a consultant in the antiques and collectibles trade. You write for Antiques and Auction News. You're obviously in love with a lot of these markets. Why is your channel so negative? Well, where we have to go next is, why do people diversify in the antiques and collectibles trade? This is a question that a lot of you individuals out there should be asking. Not, oh, antiques and collectibles are a great investment. Sean, tell me what I should put my money into. You're asking the wrong question. The question you need to ask is, knowing these facts and what I just told you here with this one historic sale that proves my point, why do people invest and diversify in antiques and collectibles? And that's what we're going to talk about going forward. Believe it or not everything is negative when we talk about investing in the antiques and collectibles, as long as you understand a lot of the core fundamentals and a lot of the information that I put out on this YouTube channel on a regular basis. Go back and watch a lot of the whiteboard videos that I do, where I explain the difference in thought between investors, speculators, dealers, collectors. Go back and watch the videos that explain how these markets work, the fundamentals, over the short term and over the long term. Because now we need to bring it all together. Now we got to get to the point, okay, Sean, I understand what you're telling me. There's a lot of risk in these markets, and most markets don't, over the long term, outperform the overall stock market. So why would we diversify in these markets? Now you're beginning to think like an investor. Now you're beginning to have the understanding as to why extremely wealthy people diversify in the high-end art, in the high-end antique artifacts like this example. That's why we get to the point of why do people buy? And that's where we're going to be going next on this channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will link both these sales in the video description below as well. If you want to click on, you want to verify what I'm talking about in this particular video, please feel free to do so. Knowledge is always power. Thank you for watching and have a great night.